Symmetry Talk. Today we're going to talk about finding roots and vertexes using the calculator. So you are going to need to do a new document and choose number 2 graph. So what we are looking at are roots and vertexes that may or may not be very. So I've got a quadratic right here. It says x-intercepts. Remember, we've been using all 4 words: x-intercept, solution, zeros, and what am I forgetting? Roots, because we don't know what they're going to give us. So this one, they've already graphed it for us. If you have a graph, you can very easily look at where it crosses the x-intercept or the x-axis. This is what we've been doing, and you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can say -4, 0 is a root, and 1, 2, 3 is a root. Now we also talked about you could do a cross puzzle here. Sometimes a cross puzzle is not very nice, but in this case we can say +4 and -3, which, remember we said if you take your factors and set them equal to 0, right? -4 plus 4 is 0, 3 minus 3 is 0. You can get those roots. So this one is very simple. We don't actually need the calculator for it. You can also, when you graph it, look at the table function and look for where x is 0, okay? So if it's nice and pretty, really, the calculator is not necessary. What we're going to look at that's more important is this second example, because you can see just looking at this graph, this is not pretty, right? It's really, really close to -1, and it's really, really close to +5. So if it was multiple choice, then you could probably guess correctly. But let's be more specific. So we are going to, this one just says estimate, so we can say approximately -1. We can say approximately 5. So on this next piece, we're going to look very much at what they've done. They've picked 4 points, or 3 points, excuse me. So they have 4, 0, 4, which is the what? What is this called? 0, 4. The y-intercept, they picked 2, 8. What is that called? Be more specific. Max, vertex. And then they happen to pick 4, 4. What is that called? That's just a buddy point. So look, it tells us down here, we're going to go to list and spreadsheets. This might actually be the old direction, so we'll adjust that. So we're going to go to list and spreadsheet, so new document number 4. Don't forget the X and Y. Most of you are getting really good at putting that in, but some of you are like, it still won't let me do it. Well, you didn't put your X and your Y in. So 0, 2, and 4, those are X values. 4 and 8 and 4 are Y values. And then we do menu, what? 416, X and Y. Some of y'all are arrowing all the way down to OK, but if you just hit enter twice, it will do it for you. And here you can see that equation. Now, I'm going to write down the equation. You don't have to. Make sure you remember when we do this, it actually saves it in the graph for us. And that's what we're banking on, because some of these are going to be real ugly. You're not going to want to write them all down. So if we want to go and look at the graph of this without having to type it in by ourselves, what are we going to do? Do you remember? Good. Control Doc, and we're going to go to graph. Remember, it's at f of 2. We saved it in f of 1. Use your up arrow. There's our equation. And then, oh, look, it looks just like our picture. You're like, Mrs. Ray, that doesn't help us. It looks just like our picture. Okay, but wait, there's more. So what we're going to do here is we want to find the zeros, yes? So we're going to say menu, 6, analyze graph, and then look, which one? Number 1, that is your 0. So we did this a little bit when we did systems, when we were looking for intersection. You have this dotted line, and if you use your mouse, that dotted line is going to go back and forth. Now, we have 2 roots here, so we're actually going to have to do this twice. It says lower bound. That doesn't mean anything. That just means you need to be on one side of the root. I'm going to do this root first. It doesn't matter which one you do. So I'm on this side. You can hit enter or you can click the middle of the mouse pad and notice this changes to upper bound. That means it's going to freeze this dotted line for you. And then we're going to move. It's highlighted. Look, it even tells you and it shows you. So you can hit enter or you can click the little mouse pad. Our first root is at negative 0.828, which we said is very close to negative 1. Do you see how we did that? So down here we can say negative 0.8280. Okay? Down here, we're just going to write those steps. We did menu 6-1. Okay? And we're going to do that on the second one as well. Okay? So try that. So we're going to say for the second one, menu 6-1. Now I'm coming over here. And again, it doesn't matter if you're on the left or the right. Get where you want to be. Click that mouse pad or enter. Make sure that changed. And this one is 4.83. Or you could write 4.8 if you don't want to write the whole thing. That's not as bad. And there are more exact roots. And you can see those are very close to what we've estimated. Okay? The third way for you to find roots is kind of like what we've been doing in our book. It gives us a vertex at negative 1, 9 and a point at 2, 0. What is that point at 2, 0 called? It's a root. X-intercept. So we know, and you did this we did this with the soccer ball question or the football question. This is 1, 2, 3 away. So we got to go 1, 2, 3 on the other side. Okay? And then you could draw your parabola. Okay? On the back, we have finding your vertex. Again, very similar to finding your roots. They give us 3 points. Which of these is the vertex? Well, and what is the axis of symmetry? Well, you're going to have to graph those. You can graph those if you've been given a graph. You can see right here, negative 1, negative 7. You've been given negative 4, negative 16, and 0, negative 8. So based on that, you can see they've drawn their line. What was the vertex? The negative 1, negative 7. Okay, and the axis of symmetry was, you can see it here, x equals what? Negative 1. So the second method they give us is to put these into the calculator. Now, notice that this does not have any roots, and it's a good thing that we're not asking for roots because the calculator would be like, no, there's not any. We are talking about mins and maxes. So I'm going to go, we do not have an equation for this. So we're going to need to start with a new list and spreadsheet. Don't forget the X, don't forget the Y. We're going to put in those coordinates they gave us, negative 4, negative 1, 0, negative 7, negative 16, and negative 8. Okay, I feel like most of us have gotten very, very good at doing this. And there is your equation. So you can see our equation again right here is y equals negative x squared minus 2x minus 8. But again, we don't need to write that down because we talked about control doc. We can add a graph, go up to F1 because it stored it for us. And there is our picture. Now, we cannot see our picture. We're going to have to zoom out. So you do menu 4A, or you can just zoom out yourself. If you do 4A, it's going to automatically do it. Now remember, we're looking for a vertex here, and you can see the directions on this side have been updated. So we're going to say menu 6. Now, this is why I always make you be specific when we talk about vertex as a max or a min, because it doesn't say vertex here. Is this a min or a max vertex? It is a max. It is at the highest point. So you're going to choose number 3. And again, we get that dotted line. You got to go left and right. Hit the enter. And it will tell you right there that the vertex is -1, -7. So if you did not have a graph like we did in method 1, this is your second option. Okay? All right, so this last one, I've given you a quadratic and I'm asking you the vertex. So we're going to just start a new document, choose number 2, you're going to type in your equation, 3x squared minus 8x plus 4. Everybody should be typing this in. So again, if we're looking for a vertex, is this a min or a max vertex? This is a min, so we're going to go menu 6, and now instead of 3, we're going to choose 2. There's your dotted line. You can use enter again, or you can use your little mouse pad. And then you get, okay, this is your whole vertex. That is very ugly. 1 1/3 and a -1 1/3. Could you also write your axis of symmetry from this? X equals what? Positive 1 1/3. This is your HK, remember? So I'm going to ask you to try the roots your turn. And on the back is the vertex your turn. And some of these you need a calculator for, and some of them you don't.